Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of my mini-series of the Frost Mage Guide, in which I will be telling you how to duel specific classes, but in the first episode we are going to take over control of how and when to use our freezes, and then when to cast at what time. So this will be a mini-series in which I will go through all the classes, and the first episode is going to be in a general Frost Mage tactics. Well, let's continue. Alright, so first let's go over the talents. I am now going to explain what each of the talents do, because you obviously have a mage if you're looking at this video, and you can see all these talents. So I'm just going to try to keep this video short, and so you don't get bored of yourself, and just explain to you which points I put in. And if there's any questions, please leave in the comment and I will answer them. I put 2 in early frost to give fast Frostbolt, and then 1 in piercing ice because I had to get to the next row, and then 2 in shatter because shatter is one of the most important things, and I'll explain to you why in a little bit. Extra cone of cold freeze is awesome. It reduces the cooldown everything by 20%, and this is slowing down more and getting your elemental healed, which is nice. Next I put an Icy Veins, obviously. Fingers of Frost is one of the most important things also, and I will explain to you that in a little bit. This is a free Frost Firebolt. It's nice. Instant, sorry, my bad. This is Cone of Cold, reducing all the cooldowns by full. Shield, obviously, one of the important things. I was struggling between choosing Reactive Barrier and Ice Shards. I guess if you do not want this, you could take that, increasing your Ice Lance, because when you are kiting and you are Ice Lancing, you do need range, so it's good. And if you want to ever kill, collect gold somewhere where that's PvP crap. Shatter Barrier gives you another freeze, which is also amazing. I think they're nerfing that next patch, something like that. Anyways, Frostfire Orb, really important also, I'll show you in a little bit, and then Deep Freeze as always. Next, if you want to go into Fire or Arcane, that's up to you. If you were going to Fire, you would take Impact to get an extra stun. For me, I think that I kite a lot in arenas and stuff, so I did pick Blink, which gives you 70% extra. This innovation, which increases my damage by 10% after I interrupt a spellcast, is not nearly necessary. But what I've noticed when I'm fighting caster, I do interrupt them a lot, so this does proc up for a lot for me. And of course, the counter spell is really important. Alright guys, so next we will see when and how to cast our freezes and frost falls. Let's continue. Alright guys, so here we are in the random orc fiery place, whatever. And I'm going to show you some of the tactics I use for frost. Alright, so the first thing I want to concentrate on is the freezing abilities and why you have to freeze so much with the stinking frost. Obviously the mastery here increases damage of frozen targets. Over that, there's a bunch of talents that increase, like Fingers of Frost increases your Ice Lance damage to frozen targets. Where is it? Shatter increases Frostbolt damage 20% to frozen targets. So I can show you the difference here. If I just do a regular Frostbolt, okay, 9,000, alright. And then if I do with Finger of Frost, oh, that was Ice Lance. If I do Fingers of Frost and then do it, 21k, and most of the time it does crit. That's pretty much sure with the frost thing. So let's go over all of our freezes. First we have our main Frost Nova froze, and then after that we have Cone of Cold. After that we have our Deep Freeze. After that we have our Pet Freeze, and then there's another freeze I have if I can tell this warrior to attack me. Warrior, attack me. Hello, warrior. Maybe he's not. Okay, maybe he can't hear me. Anyways, so when my ice barrier breaks, I get obviously another freeze, which I think they're putting on some nerf, like I said before. And then last but not least, for sure, we have Ring of Frost, which will again freeze them. I'm not 100% sure if it treats them as frozen targets. Let's check. And yep, for sure it treats them as frozen targets. I don't know why it wouldn't. Okay, so that's good. And then as you can see, it freezes them again, and there it is, Ice Lance. Alright, so make sure, guys, whenever you're casting Ice Lance, to have the target frozen. If not, you're going to do very little damage, almost to none. So if you do freeze and then do Ice Lance, it does way more damage, as you can see. Even without crit, it's a lot. And if I can try to crit with it, and okay, for some stupid reason it's not critting. This is what happens when you have a Frost Mage and you have stupid things. Why isn't it critting? Okay, it's being really stupid. It's not critting. Anyways, so yeah, make sure whenever you are doing your Ice Lance, you do, oh there it crits, you do freeze. Alright guys, so that's the main concept of freezing. To do Frostbolt and Ice Lance whenever the target is frozen, unless you are running away from them and they are slowed and you're just spamming your Ice Lance because you have nothing better to do. Alright, so let's continue on to the burst in PvP, maybe in arenas or even on specific characters. Alright, let's continue. Alright guys, so this is my burst and I'm going to explain to you how I do it after I show you what it is capable of doing. And do take note, it takes, for mages it actually takes some time to start the burst because you have to cast all that stuff, like, you know, your pet, your orb and all that. So I try to make as many macros and I will explain those macros too. And so let's check out how my burst goes. So I'm going to try to cast all my things. Just trying to spam. You know, it could affect how much. Try to notice that I'm trying to keep him frozen as many times he's not frozen. So that was my, I know he's a PvE character. If you guys are gonna be stupid and complain about that in the comments, you know, go ahead, be retarded. And there go my pet attacking stupid mobs. So I'm gonna explain to you how I did that. I have actually I used, I think, yeah, only 2 macros for that burst I used. The first one is the one I used for my mirror images, Icy Veins, and my Trinket. And my Trinket is obviously one of those basic ones you get from the Honor or Conquest or wherever you get your increasing spell power Trinket, whether it be boss or whatever. And the next one I used is this macro, which casts Frostbolt and Ice Lance with 1 button, where I do not have to press separate buttons to cast Ice Lance. Oh, thank you, Mr. Blizzdigrigrig, whatever the heck this guy is. Okay, so all I have to do is tap 2, and as soon as it's done casting Frostbolt, it'll cast Ice Lance. That's not always a good idea, but I do use that because it makes things much simpler for me, at least. And if you cannot see this macro, I hope you guys can. If you don't, I'll try to put it in my description. Alright. So those are the 2 main macros I used right there. I do have one more that does Orb and Cold Snap at the same time. I know that's the weirdest macro ever, but I do use it in arenas because a lot of times as soon as my Ring of Frost runs out, I do have to cast another one because of my tactics with my rogue I play with. But it won't be the same for you guys, so you guys don't have to concentrate on that one. But alright, let's continue on. Alright guys, so that will be it for the general mage tactics, and in the next few videos I will cover how to take over some specific classes, maybe the warrior, rogue, or shamey, or whatever you're trying to duel against and improve your friends, or whatever makes you cool, right? Anyways, I did forget to mention one last macro that I used, but I mean it's not specifically for Frost, but I use it's 1 button shield combo. What it does is I just keep tapping 1, and it will put Ice Barrier, Mana Shield, and then the Magic Ward or whatever it's called on me with 1 button, which kind of gets annoying actually because if they're on cooldown and I forget to do the Magic Ward and then it won't be there and crap like that, but mainly it does a purpose and it is fine. Alright guys, so I hope you guys subscribe and continue watching this mini series of Mage Guide, and I will see you guys next time.